Thank you, Sir Butch. Ipakilala din po natin ang isa sa mga cast, si Ivan Evangelista. Hi, Ivan. Batiin muna natin sila.
Hi, Ivan.
Hello po. Hi, Direk.
Hi, kamusta ang panonood ng pelikulang A Girl and a Guy?
Grabe, hindi ko siya in-expect. Ang galing ng lahat ng cast. Grabe, pati ako na-shock.
Thank you, Ivan. Let's call in now Mr. Oliver Carnay from Hollywood Flip. Hi, Sir Oliver. While waiting for Sir Oliver, let's jump into Miss Charmy Pagulong from Philippine Star.
Hi, good evening. Congratulations. Ang ganda ng film. Question, may part 2 pa ba yung film?
I don't think so. I think that was enough to tell the story of Raph and Fiona.
So, sa mga cast and kay Direct, sir, ready na rin po ba kayo sa magiging reactions ng audience, if ever, yung positive, negative, or paano yung reception?
I think I've always been ready about people's reactions about my film. I think early on I've decided I make movies. Most of the movies that I make are quite polarizing. That a lot of people don't agree with it. A lot of people agree with it. And I think I enjoy the idea of people having a conversation about my films rather than people saying, I like it, and that ends there. So I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. What I'm not ready for is I want people to get a chance to see it because even before I've shown it, people had preconceived notions of what kind of film it is. And just like what you saw, it's not the kind of film you imagine, right? So I'm hoping that people go out there and watch the film because they will find out that it's not a regular movie and that we tried so much to impart an insight on what kind of a generation we have now. And I'm excited to share that with everyone. And I just hope they give it a chance.
Yun lang. Thank you and congrats. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Charmy. Puntahan naman natin ngayon si Bradford Adkins from Manila Mail, US. Hi, Bradford.
Hello, everyone. Kumusta?
Hello.
Direct. Yeah, hi, Direct. We last spoke on the phone when you were in LA, when you were promoting On the Job.
Yes.
I believe you were with Sony Pictures executives then. Parang nagpapatuloy sila sa promotion ng movie. The movie On the Job was totally different from this one. So, yeah. And I believe I got the message loud and clear of your On the Job. Maliwanag na maliwanag sa isip ko. And I believe every film has a message. This, a girl and a guy, what's your message sa audience mo?
I really explore worlds, Bradford. And after On the Job, I explored another world, which is On the Job 2, which is we're showing around September.
Okay.
And I really want to explore things that I'm not aware of. And this story is really about people I don't have an idea of, wanting to find out how they think. And rather than, the most difficult part of this movie is really figuring out how to make it without really preaching a choir.
Okay.
And I just wanted to tell a straightforward story of an age that I'm not in right now. I'm 50 years old, and the story is about people in the 20s. And I just wanted to explore that and find out how they think, how they feel, how they live their lives, and really go through all the process that makes them exist. Meaning, whether it's clumsy, whether it's reckless, whether they learn from it. I wanted to go through it without really putting myself in their position and making them uncomfortable because I'm judging them for what they decide on their lives. That's a difficult position to be in. And but at the same time, I wanted to make a movie where we've always been shrouded in secrecy about how this generation thinks. It's really difficult for them to explain themselves because nobody knows what kind of world they live in. They have a separate life when we have our Sunday lunches with their parents, with their titas, and they have a separate life when they're with their friends, when they're with people of their age. And that's what I want to discover. And rather than judging them on that, I wanted to be open to seeing, oh, okay, things have changed, the world has changed. There's no more analog, there's digital. Taylor Swift has since left her her label and reproduced her own songs. I mean, the world is changing, and I wanted to see how the younger people think about how they live their lives. And I think my own triumph as a filmmaker is when I am able to picture them out, to lay down their lives as clear as possible without them thinking that they're being judged. And that's a difficult situation, but I think that's really satisfying in the end as a director.
Okay, I get it. I have a follow-up question if you permit. Sa cast, led by Alexa, who, by the way, Alexa kind of looks like Rabia Mateo in some scenes,
Thank you.
with very, very natural features. Si Rob naman, not bad for, first time ko napanood si Rob, so I was impressed naman. Sa cast and crew, including the, supports, can you tell us yung mga naging challenges ninyo, aside from the, nudity, brief nudity, anong mga naging challenges ninyo sa pagbuo ng pelikula? Starting from Alexa and Rob.
Go ahead, Alexa.
Challenges? Siguro
Saan ka nahirapan? Parang ganun.
nahirapan. If I'm gonna answer your question honestly, I don't think po sobra po akong nahirapan because by chance, Fiona was 90% already who I am in real life. And Erik Matti being Erik Matti, I learned a lot from him agad-agad. Every direction he gave me, I somehow, by the grace of God, nasunod ko po yun at working with everyone na lahat po kami, lahat po sila magagaling, lahat po talentado, lahat din po ng crew. Tinulungan namin yung isa't isa. Siguro po kung meron lang pong situation na parang na-challenge po ako, of course, is when I showed what I showed in the film. But because I have so much belief in the story, it also came out naturally. It was very liberating, and it's an honor truly to play the role of Fiona.
You're very beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for that.
Head to foot.
Ay, grabe po. Maraming salamat po. Opo, isa rin po yun sa gusto ko po sa pelikula namin. Parang kami pong mga cast, nung pinapanood po namin siya for the first time, sabi namin, hala yung bilbil, ganon. Pero natuwa po kami na the roster of talents, the cast that were used is every man and every woman. Direct Erik didn't choose yung mga katawan na parang photoshopped, hindi kailangan lahat sobrang ganda o sobrang gwapo. Kung ano lang talaga yung totoo, because we want everyone to relate to the characters of the film. We want them to take part in the film as if they're living it. So yun po, gustong-gusto ko po yun. So maraming salamat po. Sana nagustuhan niyo po yung pelikula.
Nagustuhan ko. Thank you for your honesty. Salamat.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Alexa. How about you, Rob?
Sir, kamusta po?
Okay lang. Oh.
Nahirapan. Sa tulad po siguro na sinabi ni Alexa, malapit po sa sarili ko yung character. So I knew how to deliver, how to act. It was just simple kinks na lang po na tinuro sa akin ni Direk Erik na less is more. Yun lang po yung ginawa ko.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Bradford? Okay.
I'm happy. Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bradford. Let's now go to Nas Tabares from Pelikula Mania. Let's ask Rob first. Okay na ba sa'yo ang pwede na, Rob?
Siyempre po, never tayo mag-settle for a pwede na. Diba? Siyempre, we want the best for ourselves too. Pero yun nga po siguro in this generation, pwede na. Pero hindi po. Siyempre, si Direk. Pero yun nga po, siyempre, of course, in the end goal is you find someone who would match and perfect or improve you somehow. Pero yun nga po, siguro, yung tanong nyo this time, yeah, in this generation po siguro, it happens a lot.
Pero Naz, in addition to what Rob is saying, of course, what he's saying is acceptable, di ba? Pero if we were to talk about it matter of factly, what I haven't figured out yet, and nobody wants to accept this, is the idea that men really don't think 10 years from now. Men usually would think spur of the moment. Diba? If someone's available, then they go for it. If someone's willing, takpan mo na lang ng unan yung mukha, okay. Okay, tuloy na natin. Diba? But then again, political correctness has changed us over the years, and no one wants to say that it's not in the nature of men to do stuff that are what people deem acceptable. Meaning, it's in the nature of men to be hunters, to be kings, to be in charge, to go out and kill the lion, diba? But we've been made to believe in the last how many years that we should also be happy to take care of yung parang sabay tayo magising pag iiyak yung baby, papadede tayo. 'Di ba? Ang hirap i-explain that it's not in the nature of men. 'Di ba? But of course, we've adjusted along the way. 'Di ba? Men have adjusted and men have tried to work with the women in terms of how we could possibly coexist. 'Di ba? In a relationship, in building a family, in taking care of the children. Pero syempre, ang hirap lang doon kasi by nature talaga, makikita mo yon, women and men may sariling nature. But with men, for example, ang nature ng men talaga is they wanna be at the head of the table. 'Di ba? Na of course, kailangan din naman mag-adjust ng lalaki. So, a lot of people are learning from it now na kailangan nila mag-adjust on how they should work with the system of family, relationships. Pero yun, mahirap lang na we don't recognize that as well. 'Di ba? I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's the way it should be done, but I'm just saying that the nature of things are kind of different. Yan.
Thank you, Direk. Alexa, do you want to answer that question? Are you okay to settle for less?
Nobody's okay to settle with less, but I think there's a beauty in that as well. Kasi in our generation, syempre we stumble from time to time, diba? Or most of the time we stumble and we settle for less. Every time we make mistakes, every time we want to feel better, every time we want to fill the emptiness inside. So it happens. But there's a beauty in that because we learn from it. And then with every relationship or with every fling, we also grow. Hindi tayo nasa-stuck sa relationship na to na grow ako, alam ko na kailangan ko. Sa next relationship, wala ka nang idadagdag sa growth mo. Meron eh. Mag-iiba yung growth mo, mag-iiba yung kailangan mo, mag-iiba din yung self-worth mo. From time to time, you're gonna realize, oh, this is what I deserve more now. So, yes, there's a beauty in that, in sometimes settling for less because we grow and we realize our worth all the more. And so that next time we already know what we deserve. At dun tayo magsistick. And that's always how it's gonna go as we grow old. That's never gonna stop. We're always gonna stumble, but we're always gonna learn. And I think that's very beautiful. Hello.
Thank you, Alexa. Nas?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Nas.
Madami. Sobrang dami. And there's a meta situation that I went through because while I was shooting it, I was also getting to know my cast on the set in Baguio. And I'm getting to see them. I'm getting to know them. I'm getting to see, and my kid, who's also around their age, was also in Baguio. No? So parang nakikita ko how they interact, which is totally different from how we did 10 years ago. So, siyempre, layo na nun. Thundercats na kami, di ba? Pero, I think, ang dami kong naintindihan eh, na I think the biggest thing I found out, which is in the VO of the movie. By the way, I wrote the voiceovers of the film after I put it together. And there were VOs in the script, but I wanted to finish shooting it first. And then as soon as I see how the story goes, I wanted to talk about things that, in terms of insights, that I understood in relation to how the film goes as a whole. So I think I mentioned this which is quite controversial, and I don't want to be canceled. I don't want to be, I don't want people to judge me for how I point out things. But there's a part there where the VO of Rob says, sex precedes intimacy. And Fiona also seconded that idea. I come from a Gen X generation, which is maybe late 1990s to early 2000s. And that's what we've come to understand, that people should get intimate with people they want to be with before they go into sex. You need to court them, woo them, date them, lahat ng bagay na yun, no? Until you have sex. And then you have sex, and then, you find out, fuck, hindi pala maganda yung sex, putang ina. Di ba? Masaya siya kausap tungkol sa mundo, pero putang ina, hindi pala masaya. Okay? So, you end up marrying a person, and then you end up separating from the same person. You really love them, except that physically, you're not in tune with each other. And what I find out with this generation, not with the actors, but with this generation through research, is that most of the kids now, is it good to call them kids? But, most of the people this age, usually, grabe sila. Sex is no longer an issue. Showing skin is no longer an issue. Diba? They go through sex, and then, oh fuck, maliit yung titi. Hindi ako nag-orgasm. I don't like them. Hindi magaling. Diba? Nagmamadali. Diba? Kinain yung bibig ko. Even as simple as that. Diba? Nag-kiss, pero parang, tangina, wala namang pakialam sa akin to. Diba? And then, tsaka pala sila magde-decide, okay ba to? Should I go on a second date with this person? Imimit ko pa ba to? Kakausapin ko ba pang mga to? Diba? So baliktad. Baliktad. And I think I can agree with that also. Diba? I think now, I know we're living in a Catholic country, but I think people should live with each other first before marriage to find out if they're in sync. And if they're in sync, then they decide whether they want to get married or not. Kasi you get married and then it's a big headache when you find out 2 years later, 6 years later, ay hindi pala tayo bagay sa isa't isa. 'Di ba? Ang sakit sa ulo. I think yun yung malaking learning ko, and I kind of agree with them on that. But my conservative self is saying, grabe naman, 'di ba? Kasi dati gustuhin mo muna yung babae. Wow, ang galing niya, ang talino niya, ang galing niya magkwento. And then you have sex with her. So parang there's justification for it.
Thank you, Direct Naz. Are you okay? Thank you, Naz. Maraming salamat.